$7 billion. That's what the richest man in China quietly walked out the back door with, while nearly a million families were still standing around waiting for the homes they'd already paid for. Meet Hui. Born dirt poor in a farming village, lost his mom as a baby, raised by his grandmother. He clawed his way up from a job at a steel mill to become the single richest caveman in the whole country. And he did it by selling homes, millions of them. There was just one trick. Most of them weren't built yet. Families handed over their savings, signed for the mortgage, and waited for someone to pour the concrete. A lot of them are still waiting. A million families paid for the homes. Hui kept the money. So how does a guy sell a million homes he never built? This is the China property crash explained. So let's back up and look at how this machine actually worked, because it's simpler and dumber than you'd think. Og's seen plenty of schemes. This might be the dumbest one that ever worked. See, Hui figured out a formula back in the 90s, and he ran it for 20 years. Step 1, borrow a pile of shinies, buy land. Step 2, here's the clever part, sell the apartments before you build them. Families pay up front, or they take a mortgage and the bank pays up front. Either way, Hui's holding the cash for homes that are still just a drawing on a napkin. Step 3, take that cash and buy more land. Start the next tower. Sell those apartments before they're built too. You see the problem yet? It's a treadmill. Hui was using the new family's money to finish the old family's buildings, and to pay back the lenders from the project before that. It only works as long as the music never stops. As long as prices keep climbing and a fresh crowd keeps lining up at the door. Oldest trick there is. Pay off the old card with a new card. Forever. As long as the bank keeps mailing you cards. And for 2 decades, the bank kept mailing cards. Evergrande got so big it owed more than $300 billion, more than entire countries are worth. Hui bought a soccer team, a private jet, mansions, ate shark fin soup at a members-only club while his company quietly became the most indebted property developer on the planet. Classy. But here's the thing. A treadmill only works while you're running. And a few years back, Beijing pulled the plug. When Beijing changed the rules and made it harder for developers to keep borrowing, the new shinies stopped flowing in. And the second the new money stopped, Hui couldn't finish the homes the old families had already paid for. The whole thing froze. Now here's where it snaps into place. Let Og get this straight. While families were handing over their life savings for apartments that were nothing but a hole in the ground, where was all that money actually going? Not into the concrete. Evergrande had been faking its own sales numbers by around $80 billion. $80 billion. They cooked the books to look healthy enough to keep borrowing. One of the biggest accounting frauds in history, bigger than Enron and WorldCom put together. And while the books were fake and the buildings sat half-finished, Hui was writing checks to himself. Over the years, he paid himself more than $7 billion in payouts, the most of any tycoon in the entire country. So, add it up. The homes weren't getting built, the numbers were fake, and the man at the top was carrying $7 billion out the back. This was never a developer that got unlucky when the market turned. It was a machine built to take money in the front and shovel it out the back, with cooked books holding up the middle. A million families paid for the homes. Hui kept the money. Just this spring, he stood in a courtroom in Shenzhen and pleaded guilty. To fraud, lying about the numbers to keep the money rolling in, to bribery, and to keeping what a million families had handed over for homes that never came. He told the court he was sorry. Bit late for the families still living in cement. So what does this actually mean for regular people? Especially you, watching from a country where Evergrande never sold a single brick? Here's the thing. You've heard it your whole life. Property is the safe bet. Bricks and mortar don't lie. Land always goes up. It's the advice every parent gives every kid. Now picture doing everything right. You save for years. You put it all into a home for your family. In one Chinese city, a family handed over more than $350,000 for 2 apartments. Back in 2017. Years later, they're still waiting. And the families who did get their keys, a lot of them walked into bare cement. No water, no power, just concrete and a slogan on the fence. And the cruelest part, a lot of these families are still paying the mortgage every month on a home that doesn't exist. So many stopped paying that the strike spread to hundreds of projects before Beijing scrubbed it off the internet. That's what Safe as Houses bought them. So what can we do about this one? Honestly, from the outside, mostly watch. The court in Shenzhen still hasn't handed down Hui's sentence. Whether the punishment ever comes close to what a million families lost, That's the thing worth keeping an eye on. It's a free jungle after all. But just remember, when a tower built out of borrowed shinies finally comes down, it's never the man with the private jet standing underneath it. It's the family in the cement shell. So the next time someone swears to you that bricks and mortar never lie, remember the million families still waiting on theirs. If any cavemen are confused, this is just a simple satirical explainer about a property collapse. For legal reasons, this is a story about fictional cavemen in a make-believe jungle. Please do not sue Og. And Evergrande was just the biggest domino. There's a whole skyline of these. The other developers who ran the same trick, the banks that waved them through, the ghost cities built for nobody. Og's going to walk you through every one. So drop a like if Og earned it, and subscribe if you want the rest. Hui started with nothing too. He just figured out how to make sure everyone else ended up with it instead. A million families paid for the homes. Hui kept the money. We'll see you in the next one.